The movie starts with a man hanging himself. He leaves behind a mysterious object on the floor. A well-dressed businessman walks into this horrific scene, but he is completely unfazed. He walks past the dead man, takes the mysterious object, and then leaves. We are now at the man's funeral. We learn that his name was Jeffrey, and that he was a businessman. Jeffrey's wife thanks Daniel and his family for coming. Daniel is the man who took the mysterious object earlier. With him is his wife Teresa. Her face is showing little to no emotion. The little girl, Rosalie, suddenly says that she can see Jeffrey burning in hell and that he is still suffering. She is very creepy. The parents are now in the principal's office. They have been called in because Rosalie has been misbehaving in class. The principal explains to the parents that Rosalie is showing signs of a major personality disorder. Daniel immediately dismisses the principal, and suddenly says that they are relocating again. It seems this has happened before, and they move frequently. The parents pack up and drive to another town. The family stops at a gas station. Daniel finds an ad for a psychic healer. The cashier tries to warn him against it, but Daniel ignores him. They park at their new home, and unpack. Daniel talks to his wife, Teresa, about the psychic healer he saw in the ad. He thinks a psychic may help with Rosalie's condition. Teresa is unconvinced, but she likes the town. Daniel tells her not to get attached. Daniel rinses dirt from Rosalie's hands in the backyard. He tells her to go inside when he sees a man wearing a coat staring at them. A few moments later, the door knocks. It's their friendly neighbor, John. They introduce themselves and invite John in. He somehow knows which city they moved from, but he claims it is because of the license plate on the car. John leaves and Daniel looks back outside and sees the man in the coat is gone. The next morning, Daniel walks to his car. He is stopped by his other neighbor. He invites the whole family to dinner. John will be there. Daniel accepts the invitation and gets in his car to go to work. Later that night, they are gathered at the dinner party. The neighbors all welcome Daniel and his family into their neighborhood. Daniel says that he's planning on taking Rosalie to the psychic. They all warn them strongly against going there. It turns out that the psychic is in cursed Native American land. Even the old lady warns them against it. She gets very angry about it. A day later, Rosalie is on a playdate. She stares while the other girl plays with her doll. The mothers talk and get to know one another. Later on, Rosalie stands alone in the middle of a field. The man in the coat approaches and gives her an engraved tablet. It depicts an old man on both sides. In the middle of the night, Rosalie wakes up and tucks the tablet into her father's jacket pocket. The next morning, the family drives to the psychic. They walk up to an old shack. A Native American woman sitting outside the shack eerily says that there is no hope for Rosalie, and that they must leave. The woman doesn't even look at them while talking. Daniel begs her, but the woman says she will only speak with him if Teresa takes Rosalie away. They speak alone. The woman reveals herself as the psychic. She says that she is able to feel Rosalie's evil as soon as she got near. She says that Rosalie will destroy Daniel and Teresa. Daniel asks how he can save her, and the woman simply responds that he must reclaim Rosalie. He is confused by her meaning. But the psychic can sense that Daniel is holding back. She tells him to return when he has cleared his mind. Before he leaves, she ominously says that only death can save Rosalie. It is a stormy night, and we see the old lady from the dinner party. She hears creepy whispers and becomes afraid. Daniel later finds the old lady hanged in front of her home. He sees the same mysterious object near her on the ground. Later in the night, Daniel can't sleep. He hears noises outside, and finds John moving his trash. John invites him over. He reveals that people are suspicious of Daniel because of the death of the old lady. Daniel looks at John's cabinet while he's away. He has a showcase of ancient artifacts. Among them is the mysterious object Daniel keeps coming across. John tells him that the ancient artifact is the mark of the Harbinger. The Harbinger is a mythical being who works for the devil, and makes people take their own life so that they burn in hell. John makes light of the myth, but Daniel is clearly shaken. The next morning, Daniel walks to his car again. This time, he is stopped by a detective investigating the old lady's death. The detective shows Daniel a picture of the mysterious object. The police found it next to the old lady. They believe the old lady was murdered, and are now looking for a suspect. Daniel lies and says he hasn't seen it before. The mother from earlier knocks on Teresa's door. The kids have gone missing during another playdate. After searching, they find the kids far away. The little girl says Rosalie led her through some tunnels and wouldn't stop walking. Teresa scolds Rosalie, but she only responds that the Harbinger has come in an emotionless voice. Daniel returns to the psychic. He breaks down and tells her the truth. The devil has his daughter's soul. And Daniel is forced to be his Harbinger to get Rosalie's soul back. The psychic tells him that the only way to fix things is to stab his own daughter with an ancient mythical dagger. Daniel is distressed, but she tells him that this dagger will only kill the evil inside Rosalie. And the good will remain. At the library, Daniel researches the dagger, and looks for clues about its location. He learns it is in a crypt, near the cemetery from earlier. He goes to the crypt and finds a large rock. The rock is heavy and he is having trouble moving it. He finally rolls it over to reveal that a dagger was once buried beneath it. But it's gone now. Daniel is at a bar, trying to sell the owner insurance. When suddenly, he is transported back in time. He sees strange people dressed in old clothing. He leaves the bar and is suddenly back to the present. Back at home, Daniel and Teresa argue. Teresa wants Daniel to do the deed so that they might get their daughter's soul back. But Daniel is always searching for other ways. Rosalie interrupts them and says creepy things, as usual. She presents a dagger. She says she found it in the tunnel from earlier, and drops it on the ground. Daniel examines the dagger. It is the same one he's been searching for. Daniel goes back to the psychic and shows her the dagger. She senses an evil within Daniel, and sees a vision of his past memories. She sees the once happy family fooling around with a playful and normal Rosalie until they are interrupted by a creepy bald man. Daniel buries the dagger under a rock near the psychic's shack. The next morning, the police are taping off the neighbor's home, and we see the mysterious object being taken as evidence. The neighbors now hate Daniel. First they were suspicious that he killed the old lady, but now that her son is also dead, they tell him his family not welcome here. The detectives call Daniel into their office in the middle of the night. They are trying to draw a confession out of him. The detective threatens Daniel with a warrant, but Daniel retorts that he has nothing to hide. Next morning, Daniel goes out to his car. He finds it being towed. The detective got his warrant, and they are searching everything. They search his house and find the mysterious object inside his briefcase. Daniel is arrested and charged for murder. At the detective's office, Daniel is being questioned about the mysterious object. Daniel denies everything, but it is not going well for him. He uses his one phone call to bring in John, the friendly neighbor. He confesses to John, telling him that he used to run a Wall Street scam with his old business partners. He tells John that they were making millions until they got caught, and Daniel was headed to prison. That is when the creepy bald man shows up and offers Daniel a deal. He would get Daniel out of jail, in exchange for a job. That job is to become the Harbinger. The bald man took his daughter's soul to ensure a job well done. John is having a hard time believing it. Daniel is begging John to help him. But this only makes him appear insane. John leaves. However, someone has paid for Daniel's bail. It was the man in the coat. Daniel follows him out to confront him. They're finally face to face. The man doesn't talk, and only points his finger to the psychic's shack. Daniel rushes there and tells the psychic that he is ready to face the bald man. The psychic tells Daniel about the pilgrims and first settlers and how they brought over their gods, but also their devils, with them. The ancient Native Americans curse the bald man, who we learn is Lucifer. But Lucifer tricks the American pilgrims into becoming harbingers to collect souls for him since he has become powerless. The psychic reminds Daniel that he must stab Rosalie with the magic dagger to free her soul. She also gives him a drug strong enough to sedate the demon inside her. Daniel rushes back home. He gives his wife the drug and tells her to have Rosalie drink it. The door knocks and the couple is suspicious. They are ready for action. But it's John. He tells Daniel that he believes him now because the cops in the station all took their own lives. They make their way to the crypt. They see Lucifer in the distance, but he cannot hurt them on sacred ground. They take out their flashlights and make their way through the tunnel. Teresa is suddenly slammed against the wall. There are ancient spirits haunting the tunnels, but John's artifact keeps them away. They continue along the tunnels, walking between ghosts and spirits. They run when some spirits group up and chase them. They reach a dead end and look frantically for a door, but they can't find it. The walls glow red, and a demon emerges. Daniel spots a chain on the ground and dashes for it. The mechanism reveals the door, and they unlock it and go through. They are now in a pure white room. Daniel lays Rosalie on the stone slab. He prepares to stab her, but he can't go through with it. John grins and reveals himself to be a servant of Lucifer. He uses a magic orb to disarm Daniel and claim the dagger. The orb can also summon Lucifer into the crypt. But Daniel didn't come this far only to lose. He tackles John. The man in the coat descends into the crypt. John nearly kills Daniel, but the man in the coat intercepts the dagger. Daniel chokes John to death. The dagger is gone, and the man in the coat finally speaks. The old man reveals himself to be a guardian angel. But since he was stabbed by the dagger, his earthly form will die. The angel's body turns into an artifact. Daniel holds on to it while the demon breaks through the door. The demon reveals itself to be Lucifer. Lucifer shows Daniel the truth. He has been reliving this cycle for centuries over multiple lifetimes. Which explains the time-traveling flashbacks from earlier. Lucifer opens a stairway to hell. It turns out, the town Daniel was sent to is full of ex-harbingers, including the cops, and the old lady. Daniel has been sent to deliver them to hell. The angel's artifact turns into the dagger and Daniel tries stabbing Rosalie again. But Lucifer uses his magic to stop him and take the dagger back. Lucifer is angry now, and reopens the stairway to hell. Daniel offers himself in exchange for Rosalie's soul. Lucifer accepts. Daniel stabs himself with the dagger. His soul emerges from his body, and goes down to hell. Teresa cries over Daniel's body, but Rosalie awakens from the slab. She has returned to normal, no longer possessed by demons. They walk past Daniel and up the stairs. But before they leave, Daniel suddenly wakes up. The family rejoices in happiness. But Daniel has no idea why he is revived. Rosalie reveals the tablet tucked inside Daniel's coat. The angel gave it to her way before, and it saved Daniel at the moment of his death. The movie ends with the family running away from the crypt, while the devil comes to terms with his failure. In the car, Daniel apologizes for the trouble his choices have put the family through. And they vow to help other harbingers around the world get out of their contracts.